Today, we have a name I do not even want to try to pronounce because I will butcher it. And they are on Zucchini. Level 332, joined 6 years ago with a net worth of 7.2 bill. And the very first thing I'm noticing is that they have very good skills. All of them are maxed other than 2, that being foraging and taming. I'm not particularly worried about them not having foraging maxed because that takes all of 5 seconds to get the XP for. And taming 53 means they still have some relatively cheap pets left to donate. And now in terms of armor, at a first glance, I'm not seeing anything particularly impressive. We have a pretty average gold ore set, as well as a pretty average Necron set with a Terra helmet, and again, pretty average Fermento. And now their Devon is actually pretty good. They do have full perfects on it, minus this one, which is missing a Jade for whatever reason, but maybe they took it off and put it on something else. And they also have a pretty average Storm set. And looking at their armor, I'm having a very hard time determining what stage of the game they're in. Since looking at their skills and level, I would assume like a late mid-game, maybe early late game, but by the looks of it, they have very solidly mid-game armor. None of it has particularly good stuff on it, and it's all pretty basic. And in terms of weapons, they do have a Terminator, as well as a Hyperion, and you love to see both of those. But looking at those two things, I would highly recommend that you invest a little bit more into upgrading your armor and weapons, since as much as you do have them, not the greatest stuff is on them. And I will say there's not a ton of point in owning gold ore, because at a certain point you're going to want to be Necron tanking anyway. And so if you can try to get to a point where you're able to do that, then you just won't need this set at all, and you can invest everything into your Necron. They have 915 MP, which definitely could be better. There are still some very affordable talismans left at that level. With the way the rest of their profile was looking, I'm kinda surprised they don't have a G-Drag, but they do have a lot of different pets, but there doesn't seem to be any real cohesion here. It looks like for the most part they've prioritized mining, fishing, and farming, because there isn't really any good combat pets in here. So I would recommend saving up for a G-Drag if you can, but if combat is not your thing, then don't worry about it. They are actually cat at 39, which I was not expecting to see. This profile is a little all over the place. And in terms of Slayers, they're okay. Sven and Terra being only 7 is mostly what makes me say they're only okay, because both of those are pretty easy to max out. Overall, this profile is a little strange and has confused me a little. If I had to guess, their main thing was just maxing skills, which would explain why their skills are pretty good while the rest of their gear is not amazing. So they probably went, maxed a skill, and then just moved on to another one. Anyway, I will say the main problem they are probably going to run into is not having much money. But I've said this for a lot of people, and I'll say it again. Just try to find 1 or 2 things that you enjoy and stick with them and upgrade the gear for that specifically, and eventually the money will come in.